The NFL informed the organizations in the league today that the 2025 salary cap is going to be roughly $277 to $281 million, somewhere essentially around $280 million for 2025. That is an increase of somewhere in the neighborhood of $24 million year over year, and it's also larger than general managers were allotting for the coming season. And that's great for everybody, right? That's great for the teams. They've got more flexibility. It's great for the players. They're going to be allowed to be paid a little bit more. Awesome across the board. And if you're looking at this and you're a New Orleans Saints fan, you're going, well, this is awesome. Now we got more cap room to use. And that's not wrong. That's absolutely not wrong. But when I saw that, here's immediately what came to my mind. Because we know now that the Saints have picked their head coach, you've got some variability as far as coordinators and your staff goes. And then you've absolutely got to get after this roster building. And it's got to start with the combine into the draft. The draft's got to be huge. You got to be smart in free agency. And you've got to begin to retool this roster that has aged out of its price range. And you understand the Saints are perpetually in a terrible situation when it comes to the salary cap and are constantly having to do all kinds of gymnastics to get under it while not necessarily spending a lot in the free agent market. And when you look at this and go, oh, well, you're getting a $25 million bump in the salary cap, like that's great for the Saints. And it is. But here's the way I assess it. I'll equate it to a swimming pool, okay? You got a team like Washington that's sitting there with $80 million of cap space. They're standing in the shallow end, essentially with all the freedom to move that they could possibly want. And the fact that this bump just kind of drains some more water out of the pool, maybe they can do high knees and can jump out of the pool with no help because there's less water in the pool. They're far from drowning. They got all the flexibility they could want. New Orleans is down in the deep end, strapped to an anchor, okay? You're just trying to get up for air when it comes to the salary cap. This lets a little water out of that pool, and you can get up for air a little bit more easily. But you're not out of the pool, okay? You're not out of trouble. You're still very much buried with, let's call it, based on what this salary cap situation will be in 2012, let's call it $35 million over the cap, okay? So that's not exactly suntanning up out of the pool completely. That's still very much in the pool. But you got a little bit of relief here. And when I see the relief, I don't immediately think to myself, oh, who can the Saints go sign to help the 2025 roster? I think, okay, less gymnastics have to be done to, in fact, come up for air. And the magic word that we always hear with New Orleans is restructure. Less restructures, okay? You're talking about a salary cap that will have increased $50 million over 2 years. The NFL is trying to help the Saints get out of the swimming pool. But it's got to be done the right way. So what I don't need the Saints to do is go ahead and restructure a bunch of these deals, Derek Carr's included, to get way under the salary cap and then go sign new players to expensive deals. What I need is for this pressure release that's been unexpected, as being reported by all these folks that cover the NFL, to allow the Saints to go, okay, we got a little bit more room than we thought. We don't need to restructure and kick the can a little bit further down the road and put more years on the deals and sprinkle money over here. No, you don't need to do that. You need to let these aging guys come off the books and realize that you're still a year away from really making moves. But as the cap continues to go up and the Saints roster continues to have contracts meet their finish line, you're getting close. Like, this is as close as the Saints have been to a reasonable salary cap situation in years. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And the league is helping you by bumping up that limit, that cap, but don't take advantage of that today. Just sit tight. And the next question that has to be answered is, do you have the confidence that the Saints will, in fact, do it this way? I'll tell you, I'm starting to really believe that things have changed. They have only made one move financially over the last 12 months that I have looked at and gone, no. Since they restructured Carr, that really added on another year that you were wedded to him, and that was in the Allen era where they were still thinking they could win, and they're still being aggressive and doing everything they can do to make sure they're going to be competitive the next year. Since they did that, they haven't really stepped out of bounds. I would not have made the Kamara deal. I've made that clear. I don't think it's crippling to the franchise. He's still playing pretty well. His attitude's phenomenal. He's not the issue. So I still wouldn't have done it, but it's not crippling. That's the only sidestep they've made. They're not adding on big name free agents at big deals for big money in multiple years. They haven't done anything else with Derek Carr. They haven't made huge draft moves to ditch 3 picks and move up 2 rounds. They've been relatively in step with what most of us think they should be doing. Now, have they traded back in the draft? No. Have they cut Derek Carr? No. Did they kick Alvin Kamara to the curb? No. Are they doing things completely opposite that they've been doing? No. But at least they're not continuing down this path. And so you're trying to take this little shovel and get out and get out and get out and get out as much as you can. And the NFL is helping. And they're going to help again in 2026. And once some of these contracts come off the books, we'll see likely Taysom Hill coming, likely Derek Carr not on the books next year as far as the number that he's at right now. We'll see what the future holds with Cam Jordan. I think Tyrann Mathieu wants to play a couple more years. Ramchek's about to officially retired. It's starting to happen. And it's frustrating to an extent as a fan not to be able to accelerate things. It's just not the way it works. And you knew this day was coming for a decade when you were doing business the way that you were doing business. But the point that I'm trying to make here is it just doesn't appear to me that they're just doing business the way they've always done business. I think they're changing a little bit. I don't know how much of that is Mickey Loomis and Dennis Lauscha and Kai Harley. I don't know how much of that is going to be Kellen Moore. That's a little bit more than I'm privy to from the outside just commenting. But I've got the actual transactions that they're making. I've got the dollar figures that are attached to all these players and what the salary cap's going to be from the NFL. And if you just look at the last 12 months as a snapshot and you don't add the 3 years behind that, and you just look at what they've done in the immediate past, it feels like there's a move at foot. And I think that's a good thing. It's just not going to be quick. You haven't heard Mickey Loomis say this. You haven't heard Kellen Moore go on the record with this. That's not concrete in terms of, we're rerouting. I've heard baseball teams say this. We've heard NBA teams say this. We've watched NFL teams do this. It feels like the Saints are in the middle of doing that. We'll know by the end of veteran free agency in the NFL draft this year if that's the case. If the Saints go out and restructure Carr and go sign a veteran wide receiver for more than they have money for, and then trade 3 of their draft picks to move up 14 spots in the second round, well, we'll know they're the same old Saints. But they haven't done that. So I'm going to try to sit back and give them some credit right now for shifting course. And the NFL is helping with a sizable bump in the salary cap that we could not have known was coming. That's good news. It's just going to take a little bit of time. Hey, it's On. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.